This week on Locked Hubs, we weigh the Colorado before we fit it out to see how much weight we have left before maximum GVM. And the news we receive isn't good. We've got Jason in here from WeightSafe. He's a professional.
Hey guys.
So he's going to explain exactly what's going on and how he's going to do the weights, and we'll take it from there. So explain to us what we're going to do today, mate.
Right. The best source of information on the car is obviously the handbook from the car. So remember, you've got to cite the compliance plate on the car first, really, to get the, don't go on what old mate said or whatever, make sure you look at your own car. Because by law, the compliance plate's got a stated GVM on the car, right?
Yep.
So in your car, mate, it's just under the bonnet here.
So I've done it the wrong way. I actually Googled and looked online, which they could tell me anything.
Yeah, try not to do that.
Make sure you check all the right information that comes with your vehicle.
That's exactly right. Make sure you check your vehicle. So the compliance plate on your collie, mate, is that black one there. So that's got the manufacture, month and year. So yours is 0909.
Yep.
And yours has got a GVM of 2,900 kilos.
Yep.
All right. So
it's actually not something I thought of when I was purchasing a vehicle. I actually was looking for a light four-wheel drive to make it more capable off-road, but I never thought about fitting a canopy out and not having a good GVM.
Yeah.
And you're actually saying that these aren't the greatest vehicles.
No, the variance between a GVM from car to car, model to model, or manufacturer to manufacturer doesn't really tell you a lot, because you've got to have the starting weight of the car first. Because obviously, the GVM of the car, which is the maximum the car's loaded weight, you've got to subtract the curb weight of the car to get your payload. So essentially, some Land Cruiser 200 series, depending on what model, what variation, or what model they are, the Sahara's only got a 644 kilo payload.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got a GVM of 3350. So someone would assume that, I can put a lot in that car, but actually they're very restrictive. So.
Yep. So just explain that you're saying like the curb weight.
Yeah.
That's what the vehicle is before you put anything on it.
Yeah, that's right. So there's two main weights when a car's first manufactured. That's a tare weight and a curb weight. Yeah. Essentially, they're the same thing. One's with 10 litres of fuel, that's the tare weight, and the curb weight is a full tank of fuel.
Okay.
All right. It's the way they come out off the factory floor.
Yeah.
10 litres and full fuel.
Yeah.
All right. So essentially, that's exactly what they mean. So before you start modding your car up, putting bumper bars, bull bars, canopies and all that sort of stuff on, you really need to sort of work out, is this achievable before you go sinking $10,000 into your rig.
Yeah, and that's why we're here today, because we want to do the bar work, we want to fit out the canopy, we've got rooftop tents.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spend that time and effort doing all that to find out that I'm over and I've got to shuffle it around and pull it all back off.
Yeah, that's right.
At least we have a base to start with.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's the perfect way to do it.
Well, let's get into it.
Alright, cool.
I'm excited and very worried at the same time.
Yeah. And remember, you've got axle loadings as well. Remember, your front one's not allowed to exceed 1300.
Righto.
And your rear one's 1680.
So I've got 1300, 1680, so there's different weights between the front and the back of the vehicle as well as the whole weight.
Yeah, correct.
And you got that from the book.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll get you inside.
It's the research and not Google.
Yeah. I'll get you inside if that's
alright. That's, I'll jump in.
Yeah, you jump in.
Hands on the camera, we won't mention how to wait on film.
Alright, so your car, mate, with you sitting inside it, it's not allowed to weigh anything like 2,900, it weighs 2,476 kilos, alright? Your front axle weighs 1,212 kilos, and your rear axle weighs 1,264 kilos. Alright, yeah. So remember, from GVM now, 2,900, we subtract that 24, it's just gone 2476, so we subtract 2476. That's going to leave you with a payload from this point on of 414 kilos.
Right.
Yeah.
So sounds like a lot, but I'll that pretty quickly.
Yeah, you'll eat into that really quickly, mate. Yeah. GVM of the car, I spoke to you before in regards to your GVM under that 2,900 kilos, and your rear axle's got to be under 1,680 kilos on your car.
Yep.
Yeah. The way you stack the back of your canopy is essential to your rear axle loading.
Okay.
Because believe it or not, you can be under your GVM of 2,900 kilos, but actually exceed your rear axle loading of 1,680.
Okay, depending on where they put the weight.
Yeah, well, where you as a consumer put the weight. Yeah. So they chuck a box on the back here, that's good, all good. But ideally, if you stick to this rule of thumb, if you've got the wheel arch here, and this is on every car, if you stick to this rule of thumb, and you imagine the line up there to the back of that wheel arch, anything forward of that wheel arch should be the heaviest things in your canopy.
Alright.
Anything behind that is the lightest things.
Yeah.
So
and my fridge and battery and all that, I should be aiming to put.
Absolutely. In this zone.
Right.
Yeah. Because remember, if I put a 50 kilo fridge in this canopy
Yeah.
and put it right there, that's 50 kilos on that axle.
Yeah, right.
If I put that same fridge here and I measure the centre of that mass, so the centre of the fridge to the centre of that axle, that's about 600 mil. So 50 weight of the fridge plus the leverage on the axle, and that multiplication factor from the rear axle to the centre of the mass is your multiplication number on a weight. So 50 kilos there, 600 mil, so you get 50 times 0.6, 56 kilos on the axle. Make sense?
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way that when you're weighing your canopy out, you
Exactly
know
right.
something's heavy at the back, you've got
Yeah.
a bit of a
And
way to calculate.
absolutely, and so just remember, that's not a perfect science, but I tell you what,
Yeah.
I weigh 2,500 combinations now, and that is so bloody close, that measurement. It's ridiculous how good that measurement is.
Yep.
It's the same with a toe ball too. The measurement from a toe ball to the centre of an axle, that measurement there is your multiplication factor on a toe ball weight of a trailer or a caravan in regards to an axle load.
Yeah, right.
So if we had a caravan with the toe ball weight resting on your toe ball, where my foot is, that measurement from there to the centre of this axle on your car is about 1.5 metres.
Yeah.
So that'd be 300 times 1.5, 450 kilos resting on that axle.
Right.
So as soon as you rest the caravan or trailer on the back of the car with a 300 kilo ball weight, there's 450 kilos acting on that axle straight away.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot.
So then you start compounding that by putting fridges here and tyres and jerry cans and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you might have 150 kilos of weight there, but it's actually, it could be 220 or something on the axle.
Yeah.
So just remember, in this zone it's weight, in this zone it's weight plus leverage. The
And
leverage.
work out too when we put the tyre on the back and
Yeah.
the jerry cans as
Yeah,
well.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just remember, and this is really common, you see a lot of bent chassis, you know, over the years. For whatever reason, we won't make judgment on why that's happened, but what I can say is a lot of bent chassis do have a lot of weight back of the axle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll typically see a big ute. Is this 1600 canopy?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
1650.
If you got an 1800, which is nothing wrong with an 1800 canopy if you stick to that rule of heavy, light.
Yeah.
But if you get an 1800 canopy and put two massive tyres in the back, those tyres are about 45, 50 kilos each, the big ones.
Yeah.
You got 100 kilos. And then when we're talking about leverages, you got 100 kilos probably here, that two metres from the centre of the axle. So 100 kilos here times 2 is 200 on the rear axle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you start bouncing around on off-road tracks and that. It's a huge amount of stress through the chassis.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's why they're bending some of them, but what I'm saying is it doesn't help the cause. If you can put your weight forward,
Yeah.
you'll benefit from that with it in regards to a rear axle load.
Yeah, I think there was a Triton only last week over Fraser that had the old
Yeah.
banana chassis that had to get towed
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we are looking at plate now chassis for that reason too.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright.
Alright, so, well, we've really got all the numbers we need, mate, to be honest. What you really need to do now is trick it up, do what you want with your car, and then you know you've got about 400, a bit over 400 to play with now. You really need to be strategic in what you do from this point on.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Just remember, if you ever tow a caravan or a trailer, out of that 400 kilos we've just established you've got, if you've got a trailer with 150 kilo ball weight, remember, that comes straight off that 400. So then all of a sudden, with a trailer connected, so in combination, you've only got 250 kilos left in that car,
Yeah,
which
right.
is not a lot.
We are looking to get in the camper later on, so that's a good one to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get GVM upgrades, mate, of course.
Yeah.
Depends on what model, and you just go to a reputable company and if you know a good mechanical engineer,
Yeah.
go to them and get advice before you start throwing money into it.
Yeah.
Better still, if you get the weights of your car, you know, sort of mid-build. It's not overly expensive to get done.
Yeah.
Do a mid-build to see if you're on the right track before you keep sinking money into it.
Yeah.
You don't want to get to the end and you're 10k down or something like that, and you go, oh, you're 300 over.
Yeah, that's what we're worried
That's a
about.
disaster.
Especially getting the low and everything.
Yeah.
And it's an expensive game.
It is, mate, yeah.
So yeah, it's great to have those weights, and at least we have weights there to try and work with and try to plan as to how we're going to do the build. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming around and weighing us today. That's
No worries.
fantastic. And yeah, it's nice to be able to know those numbers. And I was hoping to put a bit more, but yeah, at least we know where we're working from, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, that's right. All right, no worries, thanks, mate.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, cheers, buddy.
Well, I got a few surprises with that. I was really hoping for some more weight. We got 424 kilos, but the most important thing is I know and I can work around it. A big surprise is that front axle as well. I already only have 88 kilos left on that front axle, and all I have is an ARB Sahara bar. It doesn't even have like the outside hoops. I don't have a winch, I don't have spotlights. So absolutely shocked with that I have 88 kilos left. And as Jason was explaining, when you put weight in the back of a vehicle, it actually is like a counterbalance and it pulls the weight off the front axle. Now I have to be really mindful that I'm getting that bar work done and I'm putting a winch in the front of this thing. So when I jack this canopy off, it's going to work in the opposite, where the weight comes off and that weight transfers back onto that axle. So by the time I do that, I'm probably more than likely going to be over on that front axle, nearly definitely I'd say. Now we are doing the SAS conversion, but not straight away. So I need to make sure that I'm legal before I get that done. So I'll have to keep a close eye on that. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Jason comes back and does that second weigh. And another thing that I was a bit shocked with, but pleasantly surprised, is the balance of the rear of the vehicle. I have a 126 litre long range tank on this, so 126 kilos, which is on the passenger side. So I was quite shocked when he said that there's only 12 kilos difference between both sides of the rear axle, which is great news for us. I was expecting it to be a lot more on the passenger side, and I thought that because the fridge and the kitchen and everything's going on the passenger side as well, I was expecting I was going to have to try and somehow put a lot more weight on the other side to try and balance the vehicle out, but I don't have to worry about that now, which is great, because now that I know it's well balanced, I know whatever weights I put in there now, as long as I make my fit out balance, that the vehicle will be as well. So it's really great to know. And it's actually getting to know those weights is why I got Jason around. I got to meet Jason at the Maryborough Caravan and Lifestyle Expo, and I got talking to him there about weights. I originally was going to go to just like a transfer station and get my GVM. So many acronyms of weights I've got to think before I say it. The GVM, the gross vehicle mass. So I was just going to go and get that, but it doesn't give you all information. Like if I just done that, I wouldn't know that I only have 88 kilos on the front end, so I wouldn't have even thought twice about the big heavy bar and the winch and extra bar work. And now I have to be a little bit more thoughtful about how heavy I make the bar and the side rails, and how thick we make the steel for doing that. Obviously I want it strong, but I've got to be really careful of those weights. I also need to talk to Ironhide about how that's going to change when I do the SAS kit as well, so I'm better informed as to how that will change later on. But until I get that done, I still need to make sure that how it is now is legal, because we will be driving around for a while before we get that done. Another thing that he was saying that I've never heard it explained that way, and I've never heard anyone mention that calculation, is I know that when you put something at the back of the canopy, that works as a counterweight and it'll put more weight on your axle, but he gave that measurement to measure the distance and the weight, and that should calculate into what that transfers into axle weight. So that's really great to know. I'll definitely be using that. And when he was talking about weights and where to put them, it really made me think like little things like my Max Tracks. I've got Max Tracks Extremes, they're 9 kilos a set. I have 2 sets, there's 18 kilos. I was looking at getting a mount on the rear tyre. So over 20 kilos again I've got on the back of that canopy on top of the spare tyre and the 2 jerry can holders. I'm probably not going to change that design, because if you do a recovery and in the mud or wherever, like the last thing I want to do is put muddy Max Tracks in this or on top of my rooftop tent. The best thing I can think of is on the spare tyre at the moment. Even the rear drawer, like I don't really want to put it in there because I'm going to have my tools and recovery gear in there. So I'm probably going to keep that, but it's just something I need to be mindful of, like that extra weight on there. And I was talking to him after we were filming, when he was packing up, and I think when he comes back I'm going to make sure I have full jerry cans and the Max Track mount ready, and then when we put it on the scales I want to put them on individually and just see exactly how much that weight on the back transfers into axle weight. And it'll be really interesting to see, like when I put 40 kilos of jerry cans on the back, how much that actually transfers into axle weight. It'll be really good to know. Now, like weight wise, the whole build, like when we even started talking about doing this build, I was really conscious of weight. That's exactly why I went for an aluminium tray and canopy for the weight. And it's also like decisions like our Ocam rooftop tent. Now, it's not just one reason why we chose it. It's definitely the budget. Like this is a budget build. The only thing I'm splurging out on is going to be the SAS kit on the front. Everything else is budget, like a big brand name, like there's no Red Arc here or anything like that. Now the Ocam tent is 68 kilos. I'm pretty sure I'll write it down there if it's different, but I'm pretty sure it's 68 kilos. Now, when I was looking at rooftop tents, that's a pretty good weight. That is a lot of weight to have on top of your vehicle, but when you look at some of the other weights, like the Darchi, this comparison's a bit of chalk and cheese, but that Darchi dual opening rooftop tent, that's 99 kilos without a ladder or bedding. So by the time you put your bedding and everything in there, there's 100 kilos or over 100 kilos of rooftop tent. Now, when I'm talking, I've only got 424 kilos left with my whole build weight. I mean, that's a lot just gone in a tent. So mine is a little bit lighter, and everywhere where I can save weight, is good. And that's why we chose the upright fridge as well. I already have a kick-ass 75 litre. It's a dual zone. It's 32 kilos, which is pretty good. But if I was going to do a freezer like that or a fridge freezer like that, I wanted to make sure I had a drop-down slide. I couldn't think of anything worse than sliding out a standard slide and then having to tippy toe and try to peek over the edge of the fridge to see where everything's at. I don't want to do that. So that MSA drop down slide that goes with a 75 litre fridge is 50 kilos. So that fridge and slide alone would be 82 kilos. That thing there, the King's 85 upright, is 25 kilos done and dusted. So that's a massive saving. I could literally have 3 of them in there and still be lighter than that kick-ass and the MSA drop down. Same with lithium batteries. We went with them for a few reasons. Obviously they're a better battery, better technology, but also that battery there is 10 kilos. The AGM comparison, like 120 amp AGM, is about 30. So I've got 2 of them batteries, there's 40 kilos. So just in our decision with our fridge and our batteries, we've saved 97 kilos. If I was running the kick-ass and the drop down and had AGM batteries, we'd be 97 kilos heavier than we would be running them. And again, I've only got 400 kilos to play with. So if I had the Darchi rooftop tent and that other setup, there's half of my load limit gone already. I definitely won't be doing a timber fit out. That's one of the reasons why I decided to get weighed. I was playing on my mind as to, I had absolutely no idea how much weight I had to play with, whether it was 300 kilos or 600 kilos. I had no idea whatsoever. So it's great to know I've got 424. That's really helped me make the decision. Timber's easier, it's cheaper for sure. I've done a lot of timber work, so I'd definitely be more capable of fitting that out, but it's also heavy. So I'd definitely be doing aluminium false floor. I'm not sure what I'm doing the front and rear wall yet. I may have to compromise maybe on the front wall when I'm doing the batteries. Maybe aluminium sheet on the back, I don't know. But I definitely won't be doing all timber fit out. And also the aluminium rooftop, the roof rack that I was looking at doing, I'm still going to do that. And it's another reason why I wanted to get my weights, because I didn't want to spend that money and the time on all this, do a timber floor and do that roof rack and then find out I was way overweight, and then I'd have to pull it off anyway and then pull all the floor out and then try to start again. I couldn't think of anything worse, to be honest. So now that I know that it's something I can work around, it's not something I want to change. I really like that design. The reason why I'm doing it is I'm going to make a windbreak at the front of the tent, hopefully. And I also want the roof rack to come out past the rooftop tent. So then we can climb up the ladder, and then we can stand on the back of the roof rack. We can have shoes up there. We can wash our feet off when we're over Fraser, Five Rocks, wherever we're at the beach and you get all sandy. A little wash bottle there. We can wash our feet off and then jump into the tent. I don't want to try and half climb into the tent and then you got to leave your shoes at the bottom and trying to wash your feet with something. So it'll make it a lot more comfortable for us. And that's where it's hard to try and make the compromises of, you can't have everything that you want, but there's certain things that you sort of try to stick to and then you try to work around it, and that roof rack's going to be one of those things for us. So yeah, it's I would have liked more weight, but I'm really glad that I know what it is now and I can work with it. I'm definitely going to write a list. It's going to be hard with the bar work. I'm not sure if he has the capabilities of weighing it before he puts it on there. I'd highly doubt it, but that's just something we're going to have to try and guess with. But everything that goes into the canopy, I'll definitely be writing a list and writing it down so I know where my weights are at. Most products these days, they come with their weight rating or yeah, most things, whatever doesn't, I'll have to buy some scales, I guess, and weigh everything else that goes in there as I put it in. Thanks so much for watching. I'm really loving getting this content out to you guys. I hope you're getting something from it. If you are, please like and subscribe. It'll really help our channel out. I know we're only new. This is our 4th video, but we're getting there. We're getting there slowly, but we are getting there. I'm going to get started on this body lift, I think. I just can't stand looking at these 29.5-inch tyres. You guys out there making bulk holes over Fraser and Firefox with your 35s, thanks very much. But seriously, that'll get me one step closer to 33s, and then I'll have some fighting chance up there anyway. So till then, stay safe out in the tracks, and I really hope to see you on the next video. Thanks guys.